All right, welcome back to part 2 of our DESMOS Activity 1. This is what we completed on the second day of our notes. Today we're going to be focusing on creating a equation based on what you see on the table. Now, the way this works is it's exactly the same thinking as on the graph, except we're not going to have the picture of the step. We're actually going to be finding a pattern in the table. So if you feel like your brain can't handle this by the time we're done and you need to put this on a graph, by all means, draw a graph. But I don't know how many of you are going to have graph paper at your house. It might be easier to just give this a try, but most of my students find this process a little easier. So here's the thinking. I still am going to be working with a rise and run. So I still need to identify a slope. It's still going to be written as rise over run. But here's what I need you to know. For this, you're going to find the pattern of how the x numbers are changing. This is your run because the x-axis moves left to right. Next, you're going to find the pattern, of how the y numbers, and that's your rise. I should probably make that number up there, plural. Sorry, that's why I teach math. All right. Now, as I look at this table, I can see that my x values are right here. As I move down the table, I went -2 to -1, -1 to 0, 0 to 1, 1 to 2. Hopefully you're figuring out that the pattern is +1 as I go down. So I'm adding 1 each time. So my change in x, or my run, is +1. My change in y, let's take a look at that y column. I'm going -1 to +1, +1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7. Yep, hopefully you're noticing that's going to be a +2. So my change in rise is +2. Now here's the thing. Slope is rise over run. So if you write 1 over 2, you are not correct. It's rise over run. So if I come up here, it's actually going to be 2 over 1. And I don't know if you know this, I've told my students this, a fraction is just a division problem in disguise. It's the way these mathematicians decided to take a shortcut. They hated the division symbol. I'm making that up. They really didn't hate it. They just tried to write less. And so instead of writing a division symbol and getting an ugly decimal, they wrote a fraction. Now, 2 divided by 1 can easily be done and simplified to 2. So now I have to find a b. Here's the secret. To find the y-intercept in a table, find the y value for when x equals 0. If you can find the y value for when x equals 0, you have found the y-intercept. So if I look over at my table, here's my x's, here's x equals 0, the number with it is your y-intercept. So in this situation, my y-intercept is 3. That's it. You have now found your slope. You have now found your y-intercept. Now it's time to write your equation. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to come back. Y equals, we said 2 was our slope because it was 2 over 1. We said our y-intercept was 3. Bada bing, bada boom, done. Not too shabby, huh? All right, let's try one more. Same idea. First, find the slope. So your change in x, if I go -6 to -2, -2 to +2, 2 to 6, 6 to 10, Yep, it's plus 4. Our change in y, and that's my rise. -4 to -2, -2 to 0, 0 to 2, 2 to 4. Yep, it's plus 2. So remember, slope equals rise over run. Our rise number we said was 2. Our run number we said was 4. And I hope you know, because as your math teacher, I would absolutely expect you to do this. 2/4 can be reduced to 1/2. Now I need to find the b. On the tab before this, on the slide right before this, we learned that to find a y-intercept in a table, find the y value for when x equals 0. Don't get tricked. I see a 0 right here. Sorry, my phone just keeps disconnecting. I see a 0 right here, not my y-intercept. That's y equals 0, not x equals 0. So here's a secret. If there is no 0 in the x column, put 1 in. Oops. I know because I can read a number line. If I count on that number line, a 0 would actually belong in between -2 and +2. So all I have to do is figure out what number would be here between -2 and 0. That's correct. It should be a -1. So our b is a -1. So now I just need to write my equation. Y equals, m is a 1/2. Our y-intercept is -1. Hopefully by now, you know you can write that as, oops, y equals 1/2 x minus 1. Make sure you submit to save. One more example like this. Uh-oh, what's happening? Now they took our table away and are giving us ordered pairs. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to make our own table. Now, it's going to be a little more challenging to make a table, but I'm just going to use this fraction icon, and I'm going to go ahead and say x. And then I'm going to go down here. I'm going to come, whoopsie. I'm going to say y. All right, so now I look back up here. An ordered pair is made up of an x and a y value. The first number in the ordered pair is always x. The second number is y. So my 4 is going to go up here. My 2 is going to go down here. Let me come back up. My next ordered pair says -1, 7. So -1 goes here. 7 goes here. So now, I can't really make the lines going straight up and down, but this is my table. So my change in x numbers, -4 to +4 to -1, I am decreasing, and I'm going down by 5. That's my run. Because if I count backwards on a number line, 4, 3, 2, 1, I don't count 4, but 3, 2, 1, 0, -1 is 5 places backwards. Our change in y, I'm going from 2 up to 7. So, yep, I'm adding 5. That's my rise. So my m is rise over run, which which is going to be plus 5 over minus 5, not 0. Don't think that. 5 divided by negative 5 is going to be a negative 1. So my slope is a negative 1. On this situation, it did not ask me to find the equation. Now it wants me to find 2 more points on the line. So do you see how we were subtracting 5 in the x's? I can keep going. I can do negative 1 minus 5. What's negative 1 minus 5? Negative 6. And if I keep going, negative 6 minus 5 is going to be a negative 11. Wow, I didn't even space that much. Same thing here. Negative, or 7, my y values were adding 5. My y values were adding 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 plus 5 is 17. So now your 2 more ordered pairs. This is question 1 here. Question 2. My 2 more ordered pairs are negative 6 and 12. And that should be a comma. By the way, ordered pairs must be written in parentheses, or they're just a list of numbers. Negative 11, 17. So that is how you find slope and sometimes the equation when you're not given a graph.